Hi students, today our lectures is about street photography. Street photography is perhaps the best loved and most widely known of all photographic genres, with names like Cartier-Bresson, Bresson, and Attic familiar even to those with a feeling knowledge of the medium. Yet what exactly is street photography? From what viewpoint does it present its subjects? And how does this viewpoint differ from that of documentary photography? Looking closely at the work of Attic, Critis, Poves, Rennie, Jacobs, Bressi, Cartier-Bresson, and more, this elegantly written book, extensively illustrated with both well-known and neglected works, unpacks Pearson's street photography affinity with Impressionist art. Therefore, in this lecture, I will explain and show you more about two of famous street photographers, such as Attic, Critis, and Bressi, as well as I will show their vision and how they use the technique of photography in their photographs. The first photographer is named Eugene Attic, is one of the most famous photographers who known as documentary photography. He was born in Livorno near Bordeaux in 1857. Through his experiment with painting, Attic became a photographer and began his true life's work. Noted for his determination to document all of the architecture and street scenes of Paris before parents about first published their disappearance to modernization, and most of his photos didn't have any people in them. His photos were mostly of the architecture of Paris: doorways, arches, door handles, street facades, and the streets themselves. He was the maker of a great visual catalogue of the fruit of French culture and landscape. He made about 10,000 negatives in his obsessive 30 years drive to record old Paris and its suburbs. Attic photography style: the most silent in his works, trying to show the viewer life on these streets. The most silent examples are to be found in the works of Eugene Attic. There are no people at all. He was attempting to reveal the character of the street as it in the setting itself. The second technique is be self-driven and follow classical style. The incredible thing about the work of Eugene Attic was how self-driven he was. On a nearly daily basis, he rode the bus around Paris, lugging his large format wooden camera 8 by 10, which with tripod weighed over 40 pounds. He made it his life's mission to document every face of Paris. Finally, focus on reality. Imagine what Attic did. He looked at these every ordinary object with fascination and curiosity. He looked at his massive 8 by 10 camera, carefully extended the tripod legs, turned his camera to his subject, focused, calculated the aperture and shutter speed, put himself under black cloth, held his breath, and took a photograph. He put all this consideration when photographing something as simple as a door handle. The second photographer, his name André Critis. André Critis, from 1892 to 1985, is one of the most important photographers of 20th century, who was an artist motivated by Critis' work portray the night life of Paris. He captured the beauty of modern urban life with its quiet. He was demonstrating composition, close-ups, distortions, reflection, and unusual points of view. He photographed extensively for over 70 years, which also makes him one of the most prolific photographers. Not only did he help pioneered the genre of street photography. He also had a strong impact on an entire generation of photographers, even including the great Henry Cartier-Bresson. Andre Curtis has two qualities that are essential for a great photographer. He has strong desire to know more about the world, about people, and about life, and precise sense of form. Precise. There are some inspiration you can learn from his work. First, focus on geometry and form. Curtis was one of the earliest photographers to embrace photography as a true artistic medium. He infused his work with beautifully crafted compositions based on geometry and form. If you look at a lot of his work, he truly painted with light, considering the angle in which the light hit his subjects, the shadows they cast, as well as the contrast between the blacks and the whites. When shooting in the streets, Curtis integrated forms and shapes into the foreground and background to give more elegance, form, and brutality to his subjects. Think of the photo of the woman walking by curved chairs in the photo below. Second, create an emotion on the photograph. Seeing is not enough. You have to feel what you photograph. Andre Curtis. He shares his thoughts of technique and why he feels that emotions are more important. Technique isn't important. Technique is in the blood. Events and mood are more important than good light, and the happening is what is important. Andre Curtis. That means if you want to write, you should learn the alphabet. You write, and in the end, you have a beautiful, perfect alphabet. But it isn't the alphabet that is important. The important thing is what you are writing, what you are expressing. The same thing goes for photography. Photographs can be technically perfect and even beautiful, but they have no expression. Andre Curtis. Finally, take a higher perspective. I like high shots. If you are on the same level, you lose many things. Andre Curtis. One of the things that Curtis is most famous for is taking images from a high vantage point. What is great about these images is that they turn the streets into more of an abstraction and show the world from a unique perspective we don't normally see. Finally, the last one, his name Percy, was a Hungarian-born French photographer, poet, and sculptor who became known for his photographs of Paris nightlife in 1930. He was a sculptor, writer, and filmmaker who rose to international fame in France in the 20th century. He was one of the numerous Hungarian artists who flourished in Paris beginning between the world wars. In the early 21st century, the discovery of more than 200 letters and hundreds of drawings and other items from the period 1940 to 1984 has provided scholars with material for understanding his later life and career in the 1930s. He became known for his dramatic photographs of Paris nightlife, books of his photographs including Paris After Dark in 1933 and Pleasures of Paris in 1935 brought him international fame. The Eye of Paris is the first exhibition in more than 20 years to examine the artist's entire career as photographer, sculptor, journalist, and author. It includes beautifully printed vintage photographs from his famous Paris by Night series, his high society pictures, portraits of artists, friends, and colleagues, and hunting, but relatively little known studies of graffiti made before and after World War II. Light and Night Pressing. Night does not show things, it suggests them. It disturbs and surprises us with its stringiness, pressing. So students, this is some example of his pictures. You can see more and study online and learn more about his pictures. Thank you very much for your lesson.